Hello everyone and welcome to the third day of the NEO2 2. This is the second weekend and with me is the first commentator, CCP Fozzie, and the second commentator, CCP Rise, for this second weekend. So how are you guys?
Great.
Really, really good. We've got some great matches coming up. I'm really excited.
Mm-hmm. We have really good matches today. I'm super excited for today. And maybe we'll just start off the day by getting the schedule up on the screen so everybody can take a good look at what kind of matches we can expect today.
Makes sense.
So if we can get that up, that would be just amazing. First match to kick off the day is Facebook Alliance versus About As Good As a German Ski Lesson. That's going to be a good one, but if we scroll through, we have a few fan favorites.
Number 2 is already a very exciting match.
Yeah.
It's Agmar Money Team, which is the Pandemic Legion guys, versus No Boundaries, which is a combination of the Groon Clockwork Pineapple guys and some Stimulus Road Capel guys. And some of the Stimulus guys involved in this were on a team that beat PL in pretty epic fashion 2 Alliance tournaments ago in a qualifying match, in one of the group matches.
Yeah, it's true.
And that should be a really, really good match. 8 Cassasina Tamas, I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah,
Stay Frosty, Providence Wizards.
8Cas have given us some really exciting matches. Let's see if they continue that. Or maybe they've met their maker when it comes to a season.
Maybe they can manage not to burn something out this time. I
maybe.
mean, that's the kind of mistake that hopefully you only make once. I mean,
Yes.
that pilot's going to be very focused on not making the same mistake again. And then, of course, the last 4 matches of the day are just epic from start to finish. After our break today, we got the winners brackets. So the first 8 matches are all losers brackets. So the losers of these all go home.
Matches.
So we are going to be losing 8 teams today out of this tournament. And then the last 4 matches are our undefeated teams so far. And we're starting that off with ISN versus the hype train itself. We heard.
Ooh. That's gonna be interesting, and I have a surprise for everybody when we introduce that match. It's gonna be pretty cool.
Yep, I'm looking forward to that. They're both basically underdogs. The ISN guys, we didn't really expect to do all that well. They were in the last New Eden Open, but that was their first tournament, and they didn't do great in the last New Eden Open. They've been very strong this time, really, really solid setups. And then the We Heard guys, of course, have blown everybody away. I mean, the teams that they've been able to beat. They beat our defending champions on last Sunday, the Cena Thomas team. They beat the
Team
footwork guys in their first match. I mean, these are some really tough teams they managed to just run right over.
Which is pretty cool. Like, you can't stop the train. That's their motto. That should be their motto right now.
Yeah.
But as we all know, they're all a group of streamers, so we highly encourage you to check those guys out when the tournament is not streaming. So if we run over the last 3 matches of the day.
Yeah, I mean, after that, I was going to say the next 3 matches are all the tournament all-stars. It's kind of 6 teams that we would expect to all be contenders to win the tournament. It's not super surprising that they're among the undefeated right now. It's basically the Exodus team, the Hun team.
Former Hun team.
Former Hun team. Turn Left team, the Volta team, the Shadow Cartel Outbreak team, and the Hydra team, which is just like all rock stars. So all of those matches should be pretty amazing.
Yeah, I'm super excited for every single match. It's going to be for life and death before the break, and then we get back here. It's going to be mainly about the pride and also having an easier time all the way to those finals.
That's actually a big thing. I was talking to some people about the tournament this weekend, and that's definitely one of the biggest reasons you don't want to lose a match is you have to fight through a lot more matches. There's just way more chances to lose your spot in the tournament if you go down to that losers bracket. So it's really important to these teams to try to stay undefeated. It's
really mentally taxing going through all those games on that last weekend. So like you sit there, you're nervous for every match. You know it's life and death, and then you go through maybe like 5 matches in 2 days or whatever, and you're just on the edge of your seat the entire time, heart racing, palm sweating, and then when you finally get to that finals match, you're kind of spent. You're exhausted, and it's
exhausted
pretty crazy.
To the point that, like, for instance, last year we had the PL team threatening to quit the tournament because they were so exhausted.
Yeah,
and then they managed to find their second win.
And
they were actually saying like, we are so exhausted that we can't go on unless we get like a 2-hour break. But then they ended.
Then we just said no.
Yes, they ended up pulling themselves together and figuring out a way to the finish line. Ended up taking the gold and all the sweet tournament prize ships with them.
Yeah, I mean that's something that we talked about a lot in the last Alliance tournament. We're going to be seeing more and more of it this weekend and next weekend. It's just how long of a slog it is through the losers bracket.
Definitely.
It's the exhaustion. It's having to run all these matches. It's also having to give away a lot of setups. These teams only have a certain number of setups, and they're trying to keep some of them secret for later matches. the more matches you have to fight, especially against, we have a lot of really good teams already in the losers bracket.
Definitely.
You can't just bring out
Right.
second tier setups. You have to be there with really good stuff. You have to give it away, and then people have a whole week now to watch it between this weekend and next weekend and figure out how to beat it.
Definitely. And I apologize to everybody at home. I do have a little cold, so if I sound a little bit weird this weekend, then that's because of my cold. So let's go into the bans for this first match and kind of focus on that a little bit before we go into it in a couple of minutes. Facebook Alliance has banned the Slipknot and the Dominics, while About As Good As a German Ski Lesson has banned the Tengu and the Ishtar.
Yeah.
So what do these bans tell you guys?
The Facebook bans, I don't think really tell you a lot. Do you agree there, Ryan?
Yeah, those are just
generic,
general kind of power bans that we'll probably see more and more of, I would think.
Yep. Then we also have much more kind of notable bans from the German ski lesson team. These are not bans we've been seeing as often. The Ishtar, sure, but the Tengu we haven't seen banned a lot. We also haven't seen it run a lot. So that definitely, when I saw those bans, it stood out as something. There's something going on here. They're worried about those specific setups. And we were talking a bit before the stream went live about how that might suggest that they are a bit of a slower moving team, perhaps afraid of kiting setups, because Ishtars and Tengus are two of the best tournament kiting ships for being fast, staying at the edge of the arena, and shooting long range.
That's interesting. That said, though, we haven't seen. I mean, we obviously haven't seen Tengus, which is, maybe that doesn't mean all that much. We've seen them before for kiting setups, but we actually haven't seen a lot of kiting outside of Ishtars and Helas. Those are really the kind of only things we've seen. Everybody other than that has been either some kind of really aggressive setup, be it Slipknoters or Blasters or whatever, or Marauders, or a battleship setup that's pretty slow.
The Fleet Foons have been able to kite pretty effectively.
That's true. But it's a little interesting to me that they wouldn't have gone for Helas or gone for maybe Fleet Foons if they were worried about that kind of thing. Tengus. I don't know. Maybe there's a good Tengu setup out there lurking that people are aware of because of practices that we just haven't seen on the field yet.
I like T3s in tournament. I always enjoy watching them. I don't know why, but it's just like
they're fun ships because they do
Proteus,
a lot. Yeah.
The Bay Proteus last weekend. That was a fun match.
Yeah, the repping Proteus, the surprise repping. Yeah, that was a cool little touch.
So, match is ready.
Let's do it.
Let's get our predictions in. CCP Fozzie, where are you going on this one?
I'm going to go with the Suddenly Spaceship guys on About As Good As German Ski Lesson. I think they're a very strong team and are probably going to be able to pull it out.
Yep, me too.
Looks like all three of us are in agreement. I am going with About As Good As a German Ski Lesson, and I hope they perform better than a German ski lesson.